Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Dishcraft. I am so excited because I finally figured out how to turn my camera around, so that is awesome. So what we're making today is we're using beer from Four Noses. I'm going to use their Nelson dry hop saison, which I do believe is available in cans, but it's also on tap at the brewery. I'm also going to use their Russian imperial stout, like a boss. So, you know what I've realized I forgot to do? I forgot to heat up my pans, but that's okay. We'll get them going here. All right, so I'm going to heat up my back pan. That one just has oil in it. They'll flop places a little later on. But this one, we're going to start off with our ketchup in. So what we're going to put in that is some olive oil. And you can really use any oil you want. I really like to use olive oil for this just because it's a pretty mild flavor. It's up to you though. And then we're going to let that olive oil heat up, and while it's doing that, we're going to put in some onions and garlic to cook down. The onions go in first because it'll take a little bit longer. We want them to get translucent. And then once they've gotten translucent, we're going to add our beer in and emulsify, kind of let it all come together. So the next other thing that we're doing, move that out of my way, is we're making beer tater tots. So I've already shredded most of my potatoes because it does take some time to shred them. And I didn't think you wanted to watch me do that for a while. What we need to do is, I'm going to show you though how I did it. So you could use, I used a giant dish towel earlier to kind of keep the moisture. But you just need to take your cheese grater, you take your little potato friend, and you just grate. So how you're going to get your potatoes ready to do this is you need to cook them for about 15 minutes. I cut mine in quarters. You don't want to cook them all the way soft. You don't want the mashed potato texture because what will happen is they'll be too soft to make into your tater tots. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to do more of a crispy crown shape because that shape's a little bit easier to do. All right, let's check. So that's good, right? You guys see that? So this is what you get. Okay, I'm gonna throw that in here. Okay. Now, what you're gonna love about this recipe is that it's so simple and so easy to do. And then once you've made homemade tater tots for the first time, you're never gonna make them another way. So, like I said, those were parboiled. Parboiled means cooked about halfway, so that they're still kind of hard. You don't want them to be too soft, or they'll be too mushy to make potato tots out of. All right, let's check. So onions can go in, and we're, as always, season every layer. So this gets salt, and it gets pepper. I am going to use black pepper for the ketchup. Okay. And then we're just going to stir that up. So that was about, I'm only using a quarter of a sweet onion. You could, this depends on how much ketchup you want to make. Like if you want to make a big jar and put it in your fridge for a couple of months, then you can use more. And it should stay fresh for at least 3 months in a nice sealed jar. Okay, so we're going to let that happen. And while that's going down, the next thing we're going to do is take and start doing our tater tots. So in here, you guys are going to be surprised how easy this is. I'm going to dampen it with beer. Now, if you get it too wet, you're not going to be able to form these tater tots. They're just going to fall apart. So I'm only going to use maybe a quarter cup of beer. Again, I only use 2 full russet potatoes because it's going to make quite a few tater tots for us. We don't need any more than that. This is perfect. So this is starting to cook down these onions. Make sure that oil's getting hot enough. Now, if you were going to do these in a actual Fry Daddy, I would say freeze them first because I'm afraid they would fall apart if you just tossed them into the Fry Daddy. But frozen, they should be fine. So I did a quarter cup of beer. I'm going to kind of feel how that feels. Yeah, and that's probably what I would say is moist enough. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, this is horseradish mustard, okay? That's 1 tablespoon. Now, this again, that is like, how do you want it to taste? And I'm actually going to taste this raw because if I don't like kind of where it's at, I'll add to it, okay? And then again, we're going to put in our friend the salt. And then, oh, my white pepper. I'm using white pepper again because I don't want to see the pepper. I just want to taste it. Okay. Now, if we just went with the tater tots at this stage, they'd be a little bit too damp and they wouldn't fry up quite the way we want them to. So before I add flour in, real quick, I'm just going to take a taste because I want to see if I like where it's at flavor-wise. I do. It tastes pretty awesome. And we're going to throw in some parsley now. That's just for color. If you don't like parsley, don't use it. I use curly parsley. All right. Now, let's stir up these onions. Remember, the onions, we're just going to cook until they're translucent. Now I'm going to add in a sprinkle of flour, and I'm going to stir it again. You know what? I'm going to give it another taste because the flour is going to kind of take away from it a little bit. So you have to keep tasting it to see where it's at, okay? So I'm going to give it another little taste here. Oh. You can really taste the beer in that. And I know from when I made this too. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start forming your tater tots. Now, you can roll them if you like and make actual tater tot shapes like this. Does everybody see my little tater tot guy there? Okay, or the other thing you could do, I'm going to pull a plate down, is you could make more of a crispy crown. That's all up to you, whatever shape works for you, okay? And remember, again, this is something that as far as cooking it goes, you know, add or subtract. You know, you want to make this for 40 people. Use more potatoes, use more beer, use more the other of the mustard, use more parsley, use more salt. You know, this is all by taste. I will post up like what I used to make it happen this time. Another good tater tot shape right there. Okay, and I'm only going to fry up about 10 of these for you guys today. Now, I'm going to wash my hands once I get these all done. We're going to add our garlic into those onions because I think they're about where I want them to be. Maybe we'll fry up like 6 so that you don't have to watch me make tater tots this whole time. Okay, so there you go. 6 tater tots ready to go in. And I am not, like, the crispy crown shape is a little easier to make. A little bit more uniform. Let me wash those hands. One of the tricks that you can use to see if your oil is hot is the splash test. You can also use a thermometer. Okay, so that oil is hot. And these onions are about where I want them. I'm going to let this get soft. Put some garlic in there. Cook down the garlic. Oh. There it goes. Okay, so garlic in there. I'm going to let that cook for another second or so. I'm going to reduce the heat a little. Now I'm going to put a half a cup, so just 2 garlic cloves in there. This is a half a cup of Like a Boss, okay? It's an Imperial Russian Stout. Now, at this stage is when I'm going to blend it. Because if I blend it after this, it's like too thick and it won't blend up the way I want it to. Let's move these guys out of my way. The ketchup, believe it or not, is almost done. Okay, so I'm going to use my hand emulsifier, favorite tool. Oil is nice and hot. Oh, guys. All right, so after you get those onions all blended in there, you can also put them in a mixer if you want. stage is when you're going to add in your tomato ketchup, okay? So your tomato paste is tomato paste. 1 can of tomato paste. And then about a tablespoon of white vinegar. Half a teaspoon of cumin, one of my favorite seasonings. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now what's really great about this, guys, is if you're making your own ketchup, now you know what went into it, right? And now I'm gonna switch these. This is gonna just simmer, and I will need to cook it down a little further, but I'm gonna switch these. This is gonna go here, this is gonna go here. And then we're gonna drop our tater tots in the oil. And I'm cooking this with canola oil, okay? I did try it with coconut oil, and I just felt like the coconut flavor was a little bit too coconut, okay? There we go. And then I'll use my tongs to pick those guys up and turn them. We're gonna just make sure they get fried up on all sides, okay? So get nice and evenly fried. Stir up our ketchup some more. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's try again at blending that with hopefully not getting myself in the face again. That ketchup is so good, guys. When I made it earlier, I was so surprised at how, like, I was kind of iffy on it, so. Wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. Okay. It's a good idea to reduce the heat on that when you're blending, too. And like I said, you can also like wait till this whole thing cooks down and just throw it in a mixer if you want. That's up to you. Throw it in a food processor, whatever tool you think is best, okay? This is just to get the lumps out so it's like a smooth ketchup. All right, there we go. Beer ketchup is done. Tater tots are ready to flip. So I'm just going to take my tongs. I'm going to flip them over. Oh, it's a little darker than I wanted to be. That's okay. So those oil's a little hot. I can turn it down a little. So I'm going to do that. And because they're also, that's the other thing I liked about the crispy crown shape that I made before. It was easy to fry because it was flat. So it's up to you. If you want to make a tater tot shape or you want to make a crispy crown shape, do whichever one works for you, okay? But to do the tater tot shape, just roll it in a ball and then flatten on the ends. And I think you're gonna get with with just 2 potatoes, I think you're gonna get close to like, 2 dozen. So think about how many tater tots you guys think you want to eat before you make them. So I want to wait for these to finish so you guys can see the end result of these beer tater tots. Let's go ahead and plate up a little ketchup with it. Wash my hands off. Let me give the ketchup a stir. Oh, it smells amazing. And you could certainly cook the ketchup the day before and let it cool down, since it's cold ketchup and not hot ketchup. Okay, your tater tots will be done here in just a second. Here's the plate. Wipe that off. Got a little splash on it. I'm going to do the beer ketchup right here in the center. And then when we pull these tater tots off, you know what I forgot to do? I always like to do like a bowl or a plate with some paper towel on it. So let me grab that. And then here is the most important rule in frying, okay? So this one's done. This one's done. He's pretty done. Done. There's this little guy over here. He's lagging behind a bit. Okay, I'm going to flip him over, get him a little bit more. As soon as things come out of the fryer, hit it with salt, okay? Hit it with salt as soon as it comes out of the fryer. And we'll do a little ring of these beer tater tots like this around the beer ketchup. Stay standing. Well, that one doesn't want to stand up, but that's okay. And there you go. Beer tater tots with beer ketchup. Hope you all enjoy it. If you get a chance, make sure that you put it on, take a picture and post it on my Facebook page or my Instagram. Both are Dishcraft, at Dishcraft for Instagram to be exact. And then also next week I'll be back with wings 3 ways. We're going to do 3 different types of beer sauces. We're going to do a oven baked wing. So don't miss out, okay? Hope to see you all again next week. Thanks so much.